This is the beautiful new Northern Ireland Belfast International Airport, isn't it?
It is
Absolutely amazing. And what have you sprayed yourself with?
Nothing yet.
I've gone for Aqua de Jus.
It's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Right, well here we go. This is where the journey begins. So here we are, day one, day at sea. Sunglasses on, beautiful weather. We're going to explore with the sun. Let's see what this ship is like. So here I am in Athens at the Parliament, and we're watching the changing of the guard. It's a really, really busy scene. It's early in the morning. I would say it's hotter here than it is on the hottest day in Northern Ireland. So what I'm doing while I'm on the cruise ship is just drawing and discovering. We're on a hop-on, hop-off bus today. This is our first time leaving the ship. So as much as I'd like to get some drawing done, the focus is to just enjoy it with the family. But what an opportunity to sketch, and I'm finding that this time I am more I'm happier and more content to just draw, to not assess and just enjoy myself. Brilliant time, great to be here. There's Claire, she runs past the camera, so we're back to the ship. The Marella Discovery 2. Just had a lovely wander around Athens, got to draw a little bit while I was there. We went on the hop-on, hop-off bus, which I've seen in Belfast but never really loved. And actually they were fantastic, they were the kindest, friendliest guys. So back on board, go and relax, get something to eat, and hopefully draw something later on. Well, good morning, here we are, we've arrived on the island of Mykonos, so we're going to explore, get some research I suppose for the sketchbook and for painting. What a gorgeous place. This is where Shirley Valentine was shot, for any of you who know the film. Not have steak on a Thursday, that's my memory. Anyway, let's go and have an explore. This is Claire. Where are we today, Claire?
We are in Kusadasi.
Kusadasi. We've just insulted most of Turkey. So we're going to go to the markets. This is
Hello.
Anna. Anna's decided to be on. Isaac's off camera. Oh, no, he's not. Isaac's there too. So we're going into Kusadasi today. I'll probably get some B-reel of just to get the feel of the place. Maybe get some sketching done. But the main thing is to spend our euros. Or Claire's going to spend them. I do pretty well though. Right, see you soon.
Thank you.
So we have found the most gorgeous little coffee shop in Kusadasi in Turkey. And I've just insulted the owner because I asked to have milk with my V60 and he just shook his head at me. Anyway, lovely little spot. So what I'm doing is I'm drawing, so I'm going to show you. So what I've been doing while I'm on holiday is really just enjoying the sketchbook. There's the V60 coffee and this is the scene that I'm drawing. So just taking the time and really being expressive and free of this, not judging whether I think it's good or not, and just building up a sketchbook of my experiences, because don't forget, I always say that the sketchbook is a school that you learn in and also a journal that it's a diary. So I'll forever anchor this moment to this drawing. So I've just had a good maybe 20 minutes just sitting here relaxing from the heat in Turkey, and I've drawn the scene that was in front. You can see that there were 3 pieces when I started, but just really nice to sit and sketch. So that's been one of the joys of this holiday, is just filling this sketchbook and enjoying myself and not being too concerned as to whether it has to all be on point, because surely most of us, would you agree, feel this hideous pressure that the sketchbook has to be this immaculate, every page is just overwhelmingly wonderful, when actually the sketchbook is the place to practice and enjoy and make memories. So if any of you are ever in Kusadasi in Turkey, the Han coffee shop, specialty coffee and micro roastery, is possibly one of the best coffee shops that I've seen in Kusadasi. And good morning. This morning we are landing in Fude, thanks for Chania in Crete. It's so still and really beautiful. Here, have a look. Well, here I am in Crete, in Chania, or Chania as the locals call it. It is a beautiful place, but I have to say at 31 degrees, it's more than this little Northern Irish body is normally used to. But what a gorgeous place. Let me turn the camera around and just show you. What a stunning place. I'm going to head back to the ship now. I got to draw a little bit, but we were in a little, it wasn't a coffee shop, more a coffee area. We looked at a boat trip, it's just too hot. But what a glorious place to visit. what a privilege to be here. Well, good morning, we're on deck and it is 7:30 in the morning. Learned that cruising life you have to get up early to enjoy the day and get back to the ship before you're completely frizzled. Anyway, if I turn around here you'll see, goodness how bright it is, 27 degrees, 7:30 in the morning. Not typical Northern Irish weather for this Northern Irish boy. But we're in Rhodes today in Greece. I'm really looking forward to exploring here for a couple of hours. We're not here for as long as normal. So yesterday I drew the sun canopy or the sun umbrella because that's what was there. I've drawn things like the room, the telephone, a scooter, just little moments. So let's see what today brings. And also what I'm going to do while everybody else is getting ready before breakfast is I'm going to just have a quick sketch while I'm up here. What a lovely way to spend your time. So just had a little bit of time playing chess with Isaac in a lovely coffee shop. Had proper Greek coffee and got to do a quick illustration of the steakhouse that was in front. A beautiful place, flooded with tourists, all coming from their cruise ships. But what a lovely place to visit. This is one of my favourites. Well, good morning. Here we are in the last morning. We've arrived back in port. Bags are packed, navigated that whole process of the cases and how they work on a cruise ship, which was slightly stressful, but we all survived. And here we are in Limassol. Now, we're not leaving here until 10 to, well, actually it's more like 10 to 7 tonight because it's a late flight home. So the plan is, if I can, to get off the ship, have a wander around Limassol and maybe try and paint, but we'll see what happens. Either way, I'll be making art at some point today. So I'm going to flip the camera and let you see Limassol. It's a much more industrial place. This is clearly a port that is used a lot for cruise ships arrivals and departures like us. So, but glorious stepping out in the heat. I mean, it is 29 degrees. It's 8 a.m. I will miss this. What a great experience. Well, we made it into town. It's just me here and this guy on a speedboat about to come past. Can I catch him? There he is. It's a quiet place. This is Limassol Old Town Harbour. Forgive the sunglasses, by the way, it's just too warm to not have them on. I think over here is Limassol, the actual city. So there's actually a McDonald's cafe here and they do separate coffee. So I might try that, and I want to show you through the sketchbook that I've made since I've been here, and also hopefully get to draw and paint something. But what an experience to be here. Today, as you know, when it gets to the end of your holiday, you're kind of torn between knowing that you're going home and the bags and you're not settled and all those things. So I thought it would be nice to come in and do something. The family are enjoying the cruise ship, so I thought I'd come and visit Limassol. So this is Limassol in Cyprus, and let's go and get a Greek coffee and I'll show you through my sketchbook and we'll get some painting done together. Right, so I found myself a seat in Cafe Nero on the front of Limassol Harbour. Really beautiful, but I've got some shade. Oh, it's warm. Oh, got my water, take care of myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip the camera around and take you on a tour of the sketchbook and my thinking behind what I've captured already. So come on, let's have a look at this together. Okay, so this is the sketchbook, and what I've been doing is been working through just the process of being on holiday. So this is when we heard that we were delayed. There's in the Starbucks chairs just in front of me. Noticing the different tonal values, and this was done with the little Diller Rowney set I have. and I think it was the Pitt pens, the Faber Castell Pitt pens. So just how the wordplay sort of indicates and reminds you where you are. My daughter's Stanley, my son's sitting just on the chair. Some memory of the airport, quite like this. I felt like I watched Quentin Blake do some work like this, and I thought that was pretty interesting. This was on the plane. I was using the Fude pen, so it gave me those different strengths of line, and then just putting in flight. Nice to be able to come across the page and just really add something to it. This was the gentleman sitting in front of me. I really enjoyed his bald head and glasses and how strong they were in contrast to the baldness of his head. But anyway, this is with the magic pencil, which I just find, because, you know, attached to the magic pencil for me is a real freedom of line. And this one I'm really pleased with. This is the plane and the single point perspective, and just feel like it captured it really well. Just trying to think of different words. So we had delayed, we had airport, we had flight, now we've travel. This one is while I was on the plane. This was a photograph of Protaras in Cyprus when I was there the last time. Again, magic pencil. Really pleased with this one. Probably more accurate than I would normally do. Okay, then moving on to round at the poolside. We've arrived on the ship at this point. So this is the poolside and people just on sun loungers in the windows. Just really enjoyed getting that much darker line. That's something I find really enjoyable, is finding the tonal values. Okay, and then next was a study of different feet. My toe, different people's feet and the positions they were in, hooking them around, just thought, why not? And then these were different people lounging in the sun. Somebody with, can't remember what that one was. People putting their hands up, leaning back against the pool. It was part of the funnel of the ship. Somebody leaning on their side, someone's hand, someone kicking their head back in the sun. And again, some of them I just annotated with writing. This one was, we were sitting at breakfast. I think we were waiting for a breakfast to come, and all I got was this, which I quite like. I did a still life, I remember, with a single line that was nice and shaky, that kind of Quentin Blake loose style. And then when we were on the hop on, hop off bus in Athens, I drew this little scooter because we had a lovely 10-minute break. Really loved that scooter. And as you go through, you know, you find some that you're like, oh, that's not great, and others that you're really pleased with. So this is the Parthenon in Athens, and again a bit more detail with the magic pencil. I was pleased with that and spread across. And then again by the poolside, just single line, not really noticing much of the values apart from in certain places. Okay, this one was in Mykonos, and we sat here. This place had a lovely swing, and it just literally, the ocean was right there, and it was really quite rough actually. Not really rough, but it was beautiful and a little choppy, and the door out, and you could sit out here, but the danger was the waves were lapping over. But I was really pleased with this. Some of this I feel is a little bit awkward, but there's elements that I'm pleased with of that one. This is leaving Mykonos from the top of the ship. I'm just leaning up against the handrail and using the tombow for that one. Now we're in Kusadasi in Turkey, and we took a break from the markets because that was a lot. All the people, the bartering system, it just was a lot. Anyway, we sat down in this lovely, quite artisan coffee shop, and they had little mini biscoffs, which I really enjoyed, and the rest of the family got a cookie, so it was nice to draw that. This was when we were in Crete in Chania, and Chania is a beautiful place. Suda, can't quite understand the difference between the areas, but anyway, it was Crete and it was a beautiful place. But we sat down and we're all a little tired and exasperated, and I just drew this parcel that was above my head, and I think this is maybe one of my favourites in the book. The cabin, the drawers, the phone on the wall, how we changed the temperature, the little strange opening cabinets that had mirrors on them, all these little things. This was yesterday when we were in Rhodes, and this was one of the sort of local ferry companies, and just sketching that. And then this was Rhodes Harbour again from the top of the ship, just looking out and doing some continuous line while we were there. Now this was a really lovely moment. We were sitting in the old town in Rhodes and we're having a cup of coffee, and I played chess with my son's new chess set, and we looked out here at this gorgeous little steakhouse, I think it was, but it wouldn't look like a steakhouse that you or I might know unless you live in this part of the world. And just beautiful flowers everywhere, and I ran out of time, so it's incredibly minimal and I'm not going to touch it. And there was a little mark, doesn't matter. And then finally This was yesterday on the boat. This was of Rhodes. I was really quite pleased with this. What I find is that when you're traveling, you want it to be quick. So that's the story so far. So what the plan is now is to add one more little page to this, and then I think we end up concluding our adventures. So you can let me know whether that's what you expected would be in my sketchbook. Forever I'm going on about this, just enjoying it, not over-analysing, not striving after perfectionism, accepting your own hand. And I think that this sketchbook, more than ever at this point in my life, is probably the freest that I have been to just draw and enjoy drawing. And I always am saying that the journal is a classroom for learning, and it's also a journal for memories. So my memories will be forever tied to the moments that I made these drawings when I was in these beautiful places sailing around the Aegean Sea. So what we're going to do now is just capture something that's in front of us. I'm quite captured by this bush behind me here, which is really quite nice. And I think I might just capture that one. So come on, let's make a start on that. Okay, so we've picked our subject. We're using the sailor for the Mannen. And what I've just been doing this entire time, well, like I normally do, is just jumping in, just using the finer edge of the pen here, and just going to capture some of this. I'm keen to get back to see the family as well. I know I've been with them for a full week, really, in very close quarters, but just very aware that it's always easier whenever all of us are together. So anyway, I find that that's also another part of when you're traveling, you know. There's lots of agendas whenever you're traveling. One of mine has been to, agenda I suppose can be such a negative word, but also it's just, you've just lots of ideas of things that you want to do. And one of mine has been to paint, and the family have been really understanding about that. But also, like the one I showed you of the beautiful little steakhouse, and where Isaac and I played chess, we didn't have a whole heap of time that day, so part of that had to be cut a little bit short. So it's not as if, not for all of us anyway, particularly if you're away with family, that you have loads and loads of time to just spend hours and hours and all of that. I would actually have more time on paintings at home than I would when I'm traveling, so that's just a whole other experience, really. And there can be a lot of guilt in that with art, because you feel that, oh, I should have spent more, you know, I'm not often in this place, I want to capture it better than that. And I think, you know, I've kept all of those, worked hard actually to keep all of those things out of my mind this time, and that's, I think, borne a lot of fruit. Just enjoying drawing and painting in this little sketchbook. I've done some that are a little bit more some that are a little bit more on watercolor paper, which for me would be, I suppose, feel a little bit more proper. But I really want to jettison all those ideas. And even with this, I can see that because I'm doing a video, you know, I'm wanting to take a bit longer on it and all of this, but actually I just want to go for this, get this done, enjoy drawing it, enjoy capturing the moment and the memory of the place, you know. Okay, so just capturing these the outlines, really, and effectively I colour in just bringing a little bit of colour into it. And because it's quicker, I'm viewing these much more as illustrations, I suppose, than paintings, though I never really understood what the difference between the two was, to be honest. Maybe I'm sure that many of you could be able to put in the messages and say what you know the difference is and educate me. I am happy to be educated. I had a great experience yesterday with a guy who's a local roaster in Rhodes, and he just took time to chat with me. Initially he seemed quite grumpy, and we met one of his friends. I have to say, the people of Rhodes, or Greek people, are really friendly, like really friendly. It's a wonderful experience. Really would make me want to go back. In fact, if you could ever, I always think about, would you buy a property in the place that you're in, you know? Look at the local estate agents and all that kind of thing. Not that we ever could or would, but nice to dream, isn't it? It's always sounds like such an ideal, and then sometimes the reality is very different than the ideal. But anyway, this lovely guy took his time with me and explained coffee roasting. I initially wanted to buy Greek coffee, and he said, can I ask what are you using it for? And I was going to say an V60 and a dripper. He said, my friend, that is not the right thing for you. And he explained it all to me, so I got a Costa Rican, and he said, which is interesting, he's teaching his son how to roast coffee, and the shop was all messy and wonderful, and I actually got a couple of pictures of that. That would be a place to do a line drawing of. And then he also he let me smell them all, and then I also bought a Colombian, which I think was a slightly darker roast as well, which I love. And he said to me, so on behalf of, he said, as a third generation coffee roaster, thank you so much for being patient with me. And he was very patient with me, so it was a good experience. And so third generation, his grandfather clearly started the business. You see here, we're just down in the leaves at this point. He started the business, and he's wanting to teach his son how to roast coffee as well. And he said, we exist for your part of the demographic. He said, we exist for you who like your coffee. I also had another not so positive experience in this gorgeous coffee shop that I drew the cookie in, you see from the sketchbook. And the guy, I had a V60, and he just gave me the V60, and I said, could I get some milk? He shook his head at me. He said, you shouldn't be having milk with this. And I said, but I like it. And he said, well, you shouldn't be having it. And I said, but I like it, and I've done it this way for about 10 years, but you shouldn't. And then I thought, this guy's actually slightly offended with me. And I, at the end, said to his wife, well, have you recovered from me having milk in my coffee? And she said, you shouldn't have. And I said, it's nice with it. She said, you shouldn't have, it's wrong. So that was a little bit, and in the end she conceded, and she said, okay, well, you like it? I said, yes, I do. It was a very, very odd experience. Clearly he loves his coffee. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just look and see, are there places, which it doesn't feel like there are that many, where there are slightly darker areas in this. And one of the things I love about when you're drawing plants is I love that you get lost. I love that you've no clue where one bit is to the next. So I'm just actually going through here and just trying to highlight a couple of different areas. It's so warm here. Hopefully this will dry really quite quickly. Okay, so let's just put another line on down here. And if it's continuing on, sign down here. Okay, now hopefully this is dry. So I've had to innovate. I have no little holder, so I'm using the cap with some water, because we all know how little water you actually need when you're using watercolor. So let me see, I can't really, can you see both here? Hopefully you can. So nice to hold it, and also even the experience of being outside. So I'm doing with 3 lifts of water. So the experience of being outside, that's a little bit of burnt sienna, some sap green, and the green back in again, a little bit more like a phthalo kind of a green for the just identifying that some of those actually haven't dried yet. Isn't that crazy? You can see that bleeding ever so slightly there. To bear in mind these light little areas. Now let's mix this a little darker, put in some, there we go. It's actually probably more the green, adding that little bit of red in. Just noticing some of these little areas here, and try not to obviously colour in the whole heap. It's not normally a big stress for me colouring in the whole heap, but sometimes it can be. So just going to lighten up the green ever so slightly here on this side, bring in a little bit of yellow ochre. Get in some of those much lighter parts now. Now I take it the problem's going to be for me is actually keeping the water clean. Just doing some of these lighter parts and keeping them much more that way, you know. So it is exceptionally warm. So all of those factors, you know, whenever you're doing holiday sketching, I think that's a good title for this video actually. See if I can remember to call it that. You know, holiday sketching is very different to what you would normally do because you're out of your normal comfort zone. It can feel awkward sometimes, just where you are and who you're with, and you don't know what you should be drawing, and it's warm. You're just is a different experience, you know. So I'm just mixing, trying to get some of these sort of lighter tones here, and they seem to get much more red towards the tips on some areas. Just doing this here, and then it's actually really quite so. What I am going to do actually, I'm going to just mark a little at the end of some of these petals, and then I'm going to draw it up with a cleaner brush, he says, hopefully. Sounds like an electric scooter or maybe even a drone. Hard to know. Saw quite a lot of it as a drone. Pretty new. It's a drone that's not mine. You're not allowed now to, when you're on the cruise ship, that was one of the things they said, that it was actually a contraband item. You were not allowed to have a drone. So what I wanted to do was maybe lift some of this up a little bit. Do you know what? Actually lift it with a little bit of cadmium yellow in there, just to lighten it up ever so slightly in those points. That's drying quickly, which is actually working quite well. I don't know whether you can all see this too well because of the sheer strength of the sunlight. Yeah, I think I'm quite pleased with that. And then actually on the very end side, I'm going to take a little bit more of the cadmium and the yellow. And we're just going to use it because as the sunlight grabs it, so some little areas are getting that bit lighter. Particularly in the very centre of the flowers as well. And we'll have to do a customary flick across. I'm going to now revisit just a couple of areas of the flick off the water in the brush there. I'm going to revisit a couple of the areas of the green that need to be that bit darker, and just darkening this down. I'm going to just get some of those kind of, using the corner of that flat edge there. There we finish. Just a little plant on Limassol in Cyprus. Well, that's me finished here in Limassol. I've got my iced coffee. I love to tell you it was from a Cypriot place, but actually just went for iced coffee from Nero. Hopefully you've really enjoyed seeing the different places, and actually maybe been a bit surprised by the things that I've drawn, how quickly they've drawn, maybe even you're assessing the quality of them. But what I'm pleased about is it's been in the sketchbook, and it's been fun, and it's enjoyable, and I've learnt a lot, and it'll forever anchor me back to those moments. So thanks as always for watching this episode of Woodward's Watercolours. For more information about me, head to my website, which is woodwardswatercolours.co.uk. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and you'll be notified when new videos drop. Apart from that, that's me. I've got a journey to go ahead now to get back to Belfast, which I actually still quite enjoy, but I'm going to get back to the family, enjoy the cruise ship for the last few hours. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video sometime soon. Bye everyone.